Hello students, welcome back to Vedantu's NCERT solutions for class 11 and 12. We are going to discuss the 8th question from your NCERT from the chapter D and F block elements. So what are the characteristics of the transition elements and why are they called transition elements? Which of the D block elements may not be regarded as the transition elements? First, let's answer for the first question. What are the characteristics of transition elements? Characteristics or properties? Characteristics of transition elements. Transition elements. So transition elements generally have a high melting and boiling point. They have high melting and boiling points. They have high melting and boiling points, and they are hard. They are hard, and generally they have high density. They are hard and they have high density. Have high density. And so they form paramagnetic compounds. They form paramagnetic compounds where electrons will be unpaired, paramagnetic compounds, and they form colored compounds. Because of paramagnetic nature, they form colored compounds. A transition occurs here, which is called DD transition. It's called DD transition. They form colored compounds. And yes, fifth one, they form stable compounds. They form stable complexes. And then they are pretty good conductors of electricity. They are pretty good conductors of electricity. So what are transition elements then? Transition elements are those elements. Transition elements are those elements. Those elements in which the atoms or ions, contain partially filled d orbital. These elements as in transition elements lie in the D block and they show transition of properties. They show transition of properties between S block and P block. S block and P block. This is the reason why they are called transition elements. They are called transition elements. The name itself suggests. They show a transition of properties. They are called transition elements. Okay, but there are few elements. The elements such as zinc, mercury, elements such as zinc, mercury and cadmium are okay, they cannot be classified. They cannot be classified as transition elements because they have completely filled D. They have completely filled as in D10, completely filled D subshell. Let's take the example of mercury here. So mercury, Hg, what is the electronic configuration here? Xenon followed by 4f14, 5d10 and 6s2. Here we can evidently see that the D subshell is completely filled. Not just that, zinc also. So if we consider zinc, argon followed by 3D, 10, 4s2. So here also D is completely filled. So these elements cannot be considered under transition elements because transition elements are supposed to contain partially filled D subshell.